Okay, hello friends. Welcome to week one of our 7-week series titled Build Resilience, Manage Stress. I am so glad to be here with each and every one of you for a half hour every Friday, starting today for the next 7 weeks, as we cover everything from soup to nuts when it comes to stress management. Obviously, we know our jobs are really high stress, and a lot of the other things in our life contribute stress as well. And so, over the course of the next 7 weeks, my intent is to provide you all of the tips, tricks, and tools that you need to be able to build some resilience and manage your stress. So, let's go ahead and get started. For those of you who don't yet know me, my name is Shannon Parks. I am your Cigna on-site nutrition health coach here for county employees and your families. I am a registered dietitian nutritionist. I am also certified in mental health first aid. I come from a clinical background working in nutrition as a healthcare professional for Baycare and made my transition over to the county earlier this year. We offer one-on-one coaching services as well as programs like this. So if you have any questions for specifically targeting any of the tactics, tips, or tricks that we go over, please feel free to reach out and we can always personalize and individualize this approach for you, your situation, your circumstance, or your scenario. I wanted to give you guys a little bit of an idea of what to expect over the course of the next 7 weeks. So you can see that we've got an outline there of what we'll be covering over the next 7 weeks. Of course, I'd love to see your face or your name week after week. So if you can make it, awesome. If not, they will be recorded, but our sessions will be live weekly on Zoom from 12:30 to 1 o'clock p.m. starting today for the next 7 weeks through October 28th. You will get a Zoom reminder email every Friday as I send out that reminder, but the link for you to join will remain the same. So even if you accidentally delete that reminder, the link from the previous week will still work for you. Today is our introductory session, and we're also going to go over identifying stress, and next week we'll move on into relationships and social support. So stress, it is something that we cannot escape, right? 43% of adults experience physical symptoms caused by stress. 21% experience increased tension in their bodies. 20% experience snapping or being quick to anger. Another 20% experience mood swings. 17% report yelling at a loved one when they're stressed, and nearly 1 in 5, 19% of adults say that their mental health is worse than it was at this time 1 year ago. Additionally, 61%, or the majority of adults, say that they could have used more emotional support than they've received over the last 12 months. And worst of all, we know that stress can make you sick, with studies demonstrating a direct correlation between stress and high blood pressure, depression, high cholesterol, asthma, ulcers, migraine headaches, stroke, heart disease, chronic neck and back pain, decreased immune function, and a prolonged healing or recovery, just to name a few things. So what state of change are you in? Keeping in mind that we can progress and regress through the stages as we move through life, situations, and circumstances. So relative to stress, where would you say that you fall? Thinking about the 5 stages, let's dive into each one a little bit further. So pre-contemplation is considered the first stage of change. And this would be like, I'm not planning on making a change within the next 6 months. For example, you may not think that stress has much of an effect on your life, or perhaps you've tried taking control of stress so many times that you finally gave up and decided you wanted to just live with it. That would be pre-contemplation. Contemplation, or the second stage of change, is I'm thinking about making a change, but I'm just not quite ready yet. You may have some mixed feelings about changing, such as a fear of changing habits that maybe you're used to. Preparation, the third stage of change, says, I'm planning to make a change within the next 30 days. At this stage, you've decided that change is necessary and you may be experiencing with small adjustments. The fourth stage of change is the action stage. So this is where you might be saying, okay, I made a change within the last 6 months and I'm sticking to that change. At this stage, you may have an increased need for structure, support, and new skills to support your change since it is so new. And finally, the last stage of change is maintenance. I made a change over the last 6 months and I'm sticking to it. It's been longer than 6 months. Maybe it's even been longer than a year at this point. It's important when you're in the maintenance stage to remind yourself of how much progress you've made, as well as continuing to develop new skills to help avoid or recover from habit relapse. So I wanted to take it to the polls, and I was going to put in a poll, but then I realized not everybody is going to be at their computer. So go ahead and drop in the chat which state of change that you feel like you're in when it comes to stress management. Pre-contemplation, contemplation, action, maintenance. Where are you at in your stage of change? Go ahead and drop it in the chat. I would love to see where everybody's at. Danita says that she's in action. Lisa says action. Michelle, pre-contemplation, action, maintenance, nice. Action, awesome. Pre-contemplation. People are all over the place, right? And that can vary for each of us from day to day. One day you might feel like you're really great into action with stress, and another day you may feel like you've regressed a little bit, or maybe you've made progress a little bit. So it can go either way. Don't give yourself too much grief about the stage of changing over time. So keeping in mind always that we can progress and regress as we move through life or situations or circumstances. Let's take a little look at what is stress. So what do you think of when you hear the word stress? Anybody? If you want to put it in the chat, that would be great. But let's talk about what stress actually is. Stress feels like drowning. Yes, it feels like being annoyed, rapid heartbeat, pressure, overwhelm. Oh my gosh, yes, all these are such good descriptions of the way that stress feels. So interestingly enough, stress is how the brain and the body respond to any demand. Every type of demand, from exercise to work to school, major life changes, or even traumatic events, can be stressful. It's important to remember that we can control our stress because stress comes from how we respond to life's demands. Stress also isn't all bad. A little bit of stress can help motivate us to perform at a higher level or reach our goals and achieve success. Our body's stress response can even be life-saving. Our brain uses more oxygen and increases activity when we're stressed, helping us think quicker. Now, health problems can occur if the stress response goes on for too long or becomes chronic, such as when the source of stress is constant, or if the response continues after the danger has subsided. With chronic stress, those same life-saving responses in your body can suppress our immune system, mess up our digestive system, interrupt our sleep and our reproductive systems, which could cause them to stop working normally. So of course, balance is key. We thrive when we're in a balanced state. Not too much stress where it impacts our health, but enough to keep us motivated to reach our goals. One of the other things that I thought that was really important to highlight here is the difference between what we say and how we actually feel, right? Anybody who is a Brene Brown fan in here, like I am, probably has heard this in her newest work, Atlas of the Heart, but oftentimes when we say we feel overwhelmed, what we really mean is we feel stressed. Stress is a feeling when we evaluate that the demand being placed on us is beyond our ability to successfully cope. But overwhelm, on the other hand, is an extreme state of stress where the emotional and cognitive intensity gets to the point that we feel unable to function, right? Ever feel like, oh my gosh, I'm having a mental breakdown, or oh my gosh, I really seriously can't get up off the couch. That would be a state of overwhelm. Whereas what we can in conversation often say, oh, I feel so overwhelmed, what we're referring to is stress. The importance here in the language we use is it begets how we feel, right? And so if you were just feeling stressed, but instead you say, I'm feeling overwhelmed, now we've opened up the opportunity for our body to start feeling overwhelmed because we spoke it into existence almost, right? And so being sure to use the correct language to identify how we feel also is a tactic in helping manage our stress. So let's talk about the root cause when it comes to stress. On the screen are 6 different major root causes for stress development in our lives. Job loss or even job change. Maybe you didn't lose a job, but maybe something within your role or your work environment changed. It can be really stressful for so many obvious reasons. If you lose a job, you lose income, but then there's other reasons such as a change in family dynamic or lifestyle. If there's been a change in your office environment, that can be stressful. New dynamics, new coworkers, new colleagues, new work environment, that can impact our job as well. Grief can be another huge cause of stress. The loss of friends or loved ones or colleagues can be the most devastating stress in someone's life. Finances, how many of us feel financial stress, right? Changing in finances can cause a ripple effect of stress in multiple areas of our lives, from our lifestyle to our relationship, even to interpersonal dialogue. Living with a medical condition. Oh my gosh, right? This is a big one. Anybody living with a health problem or medical diagnosis knows that this can cause so much added stress to you or loved ones, or even if your loved one has a medical condition, that can cause you stress. Caregiving, anybody who's a caregiver, whether it be for young children, aging adults, or anybody in between, providing care for another human being is meaningful, but it can impact your finances, emotions, and time, which can all cause stress. And lastly, loss of a relationship, separation or divorce, breaking up, losing someone that you've been seeing for a short time or a long time can trigger a range of emotions from relief to anger, sadness, grief, and of course, stress. So when we think about the stress in our life, we want to sort of think about, okay, what is the root cause? And maybe there are a couple of root causes, but when we start to identify the root cause, we can then start to set goals around managing our stress related to that root cause. Let's take a little bit of a closer look. So one of the pillars of habit change when it comes to stress management is goal setting. It may be super easy to throw a big goal out there, and anybody who's ever worked with me in one-on-one coaching knows I love baby step goals for a reason, because as many of us know, big goals take big action plans, and sometimes the goals can seem so big that they really feel out of reach and can contribute stress. So this is where setting SMART goals can really help with setting and reaching those bigger goals. So as you can see on the screen, SMART is an acronym for specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound, which are all characteristics of a well-set goal that we're looking for. So let's take a little bit of a closer look. Specific. What is it that you want to achieve? An example, you may have a goal of wanting to walk more, but being more specific about how often or for how long or how far you're going to walk can make getting to that goal that much easier. Measurable, finding ways to measure your progress within the goal that you're setting. You might do this by breaking down bigger goals into smaller steps and setting target completion dates. Or you may be training for a marathon as a goal and find that you measure it in mileage increments as you log your runs. Looking at goals being attainable. So what does this mean? Shoot for the stars, right? Of course, but when it comes to the goals, the stars have to be reachable. Considering all the ways you can reach a goal when you're setting that goal and see, is it truly attainable for you? Realistic. I know that I have set some really lofty goals in my lifetime, but what's the likelihood that you're going to achieve the goal that you set? That's a biggie for the people that I work with. Many people tell me that they want to go from being sedentary to exercising 5 or 7 days a week. It's inspiring that they want to jump in, but is it realistic? So we take a step back and we look at their lifestyle throughout the week, their schedule, their time, and come to a conclusion of what feels realistically attainable to them. And last but not least, timely or time bound. When do you want to reach your goal? Putting a timeline, a deadline, or a target completion date really helps keep our eyes on the prize. So let's talk about how to get some help with stress management. If you are somebody who feels chronically stressed, I want to provide you these couple of options that are, of course, are not the be all end all when it comes to stress management. First and foremost, you guys have an on-site EAP representative through Cigna, so Employee Assistance Program. She is a licensed clinical social worker, aka a therapist. She's amazing, and you get 6 free sessions on any one topic. So if you wanted to go in and talk to her about work stress, you could get 6 sessions covering work stress. And if you wanted to talk about home stress after that, that's an additional 6 sessions. So Lorelei Keefe is her name. She's located here in the same office complex as your other health coaches, myself and Brittany. Here at 400 South Fort Harrison. She does have her own private office, so nobody knows that you're coming and going to see her. Everything that you do with her and all the conversations that you have are totally secure and confidential to you and her. You can also reach her at the phone number listed, 464-5545. Cigna also offers you EAP services available by phone 24/7. You can reach those services at 800-433-5768. Again, that's 24/7. And both Lorelei Keefe and the EAP services are available to you and anybody in your household, regardless of insurance status. Suicide and Crisis Lifeline hotline. The number to the suicide crisis line recently changed. The new contact number is 988. So if you feel overwhelmed by your stress, if you feel like you are a threat to yourself or others, that you're going to harm yourself or others, or have thoughts of harm of yourself or others, please call Suicide and Crisis Lifeline at 988. That is considered a medical emergency. And last but not least, health coaching services. Meet with myself or nurse coach Brittany Hardup on site here at 400 South Fort Harrison. We also offer virtual sessions or sessions over the phone. We can meet you between 8 and 4:30 Monday through Friday. Or we also offer our lunch hour app for people who want to have lunch hour sessions. If that's easier for you to step away from your desk and have a private phone call, we're absolutely here for that. The services with EAP and the health coaching are entirely free. You don't have to worry about it going against your medical insurance or your deductible. And for participating in health coaching services, setting a SMART goal and showing that you're progressing towards it, which hint, hint, we help you do, you can earn up to $50 on your paycheck or 12,500 wellness incentive points. That's a pretty amazing benefit. And to round out today, I'm going to give you a little bit of your time back here. But I wanted to go ahead and take a little bit of a look ahead. Each week, I'm going to provide you some extra learning opportunities. So if you'll look in your Healthier Point of View, Build Resilience to Manage Stress PDF workbook that was attached to the email you received this morning from me, you'll want to check out pages 11 and 14. On page 11, you can do the quick checklist for internal versus external locus of control. Really enjoyed doing that checklist. It helped me identify a lot of things in my own life, so I think it's really pertinent for you all as well. And then you can also complete the Setting Smart Goals journaling space. That's going to help you start to identify some SMART goals that you can set related to your stress levels, overall health, and wellness. So if you're somebody that is like me and enjoys a good workbook, I swear they were like my favorite thing in school, go ahead, get your PDF copy from your email, print it out, download it, whatever you need to do. Check off that checklist on page 11, fill out that journaling space. It'll take you less than 10 minutes and it'll really help you on your stress journey. Now, let's look ahead to next week's sessions. It's going to be week 2. We're going to be talking about relationships and social support. That'll be Friday the 23rd, again, right here on Zoom at 12:30 in the afternoon. And we're going to be taking a deep dive look into communication, thinking ahead to manage conflict, and together we'll start to build those powerful I statements. So I'm super excited to see you again next week. I am going to leave this space open. If you have any questions, please feel free to unmute yourself and ask your questions or drop them in the chat if you can't talk. I am going to stop sharing my screen so that I can see all of you all. And like I said, feel free to unmute and ask any questions that you have relative to our stress series, or drop them in the chat. Does anybody have any questions related to stress management, anything that we covered today, the extra activities that you can participate in? Okay, if not, I am going to close out our session and give you a couple minutes back. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. I look forward to seeing you again next Friday. Have an awesome weekend. Take care.